Hello, it's Tiwin1 on this tutorial. Right, I'm here to talk about variables and so many things like loops and selection. So here we want to define variables first. Variables, these are simply symbolic names that are given to a referenced location of information. So here we have properties of variables. We have a variable name, and variable type, variable value. So for the variable name, we can just assign any name to a variable. Like in this case, we just said A is the variable name, and the variable type can be integer, float, or character, double, void, any of your choice that you see as it suits your program. And the variable value to be any number that you want to assign to your variable. Like in this case, A can be equal to 5. Then moving on, we move on to selection. Let's say if statements as part of the selection. We can use this selection thing if we want to choose between certain conditions. If a certain condition is true, then a certain code is executed, and if a certain condition is true, then a list or a set of conditions is executed depending on the quantity and of the amount of the condition that you want to execute. So if you want to execute one condition, you can use this one. If you want to go to execute a set of conditions, you can use this one. Right, for the examples, for the practical examples, if x is more than 0, we increment like that as we go. Then we have standard input and standard output. Standard input can be used to as represented by this file pointer stdin, and the output can be used to be represented by stdout as the file pointers. So the standard input, this is the way information is fed into the computer, and the output, this is the display that is given to the user of the program final result. Moving on, we go to the C loops. A loop, this is a statement that initiates a repetition of certain conditions, so that a certain condition can be met in order to increase the flexibility of the code or of the program. So in this case, as you can see from this diagram, if a condition or a source code, if it is applied here, if it meets this true condition, it is repeated until it is false, so that it can flow to another stage. Yes, you can see types of loops. We have the for loop, the while loop, the do while loop. So for the for loop, you have to meet a condition, then a certain variable is incremented, and the while is the same thing, then condition is down here, not aside. Then moving on to the arrays. Arrays, this is a collection. This is a collection of data which is brought under the same data type or the same variable name. This is different from the variable name, because this array can store many information based on the same program, rather than the variable name that stores a single number. But arrays, they store a bunch of numbers. Like this array, we can name this array as float. This array of marks, we can name it as float. Float marks, right? So this is the variable name, and this is the variable type, right? So moving on, here this is the mark 0, mark 1, mark 2, mark 3. These are the array locations. So the array marks, it is the main dominant file to these arrays. So if you store 1 here, it is not located at 1, but it is located at mark what? At mark 0. You see, so in mark 0 we find 1, in mark 1 we find 2, in mark 2 we find 3, in mark 3 we find 4. That is how it is. I think this is I hope this tutorial has been very beneficial to you. Thank you very much.